Well, hello everybody and welcome to NRL.com's live coverage of this fantastic test match coming up between the Australian Jillaroos and the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns. The sun is beaming down here on WIN Stadium here in Wollongong, and right now we're just having the national anthem of New Zealand. Joining me in the commentary box this afternoon is the Illawarra CEO down here in this part of the world. Very good afternoon to Chris Bannerman. Fantastic, mate. We might just stand by for the Australian national anthem. The Australian national anthem, and now we stand by for the New Zealand haka. What a moment this will be for the Ferns and the Jillaroos. They last played in the World Cup last year, where the Jillaroos came away with the win on that occasion. This is the first time these sides have met since then. Chris, where's your money going this afternoon?
Probably slightly lean towards the Jillaroos, just because I know some of the talent that these girls have. But let's get both teams a round of applause for the Kiwi haka teams in Jillaroos. It's the first time the Jillaroos have defended a World Cup, the first time they've taken that title. So this really could go either way. But I think maybe on home turf, the Jillaroos might just get by it.
Of course, the Jillaroos, new captain, Steph Hancock. What a moment for her.
What a moment for all of them. During the entrance, you could see all burst in the fire.
Well, there you have it, the New Zealand haka. Mate, they're pumped and they're raring to go, both sides. As we mentioned, the Jillaroos have come out and said throughout the week there's a lot of pressure here today to beat the New Zealand squad. A lot more pressure, they are saying, than last year's World Cup. And I guess, Chris, you know, New Zealand will be out to redeem themselves from their World Cup deficit last year.
People who haven't seen any female rugby league before, I think you're going to be impressed with the skills these girls have and the intensity they play with. I've seen quite a lot of women's rugby league at our local competition here in the Illawarra, the Women in the Army Illawarra League, and these girls don't hold back.
So 6 new debutants for Australia, and we're underway. The Kiwi Ferns have first use of the ball and strong defence in the opening tackle there by the Jillaroos and the Ferns, Chris. Well, massive tackle, and it's time off here. In the first tackle, you mentioned there the Jillaroos are going to be out to play here. Well, doesn't come any tougher, any stronger than that.
To be picked for the Jillaroos is deserving of the effort she puts in on a weekly basis to play rugby league.
As Chris mentioned, 6 debutantes for the Jillaroos here this afternoon. Maddie Studden, Brittany Brayley, Kezzy Apps, Annette Brander, and Maima T. Alpha, while Vanessa Folliarki making their debuts here this afternoon. As we see now, the Ferns coming up the middle of the park, and this is Kelly Maipi, second year with the New Zealand Kiwis. Debuted in last year's World Cup. Another strong defence here, 10 out from the Roos line. She's been in everything. Ball goes out the back. It's gone backwards. They're going to kick off the boot of Rona Peters. Ball goes back down to the 30. They're chasing through the Ferns. They just cannot collect the football in the end here, Chris. So a mistake here. Scramble pack down, 20 metres out from the Jillaroos line.
That's a let off for the Jillaroos. I think Sam Hammond just lost that ball in the wind. She's usually very safe at the back. Thank goodness for the Jillaroos that they were able to cover up. That looked very dangerous.
So a few nerves from both sides in the opening exchanges here. Of course, we're counting down to the Australian Kangaroos in the Samoa match later on this afternoon. You're with Peter Jolly and Chris Bannerman, live and exclusive this afternoon on NRL.com. Hope you enjoy the telecast as the Jillaroos first opportunity to see what they've got in their bag of tricks here this afternoon as they take it over the 40-metre line. Kunst plays the ball. They go from dummy half. This is where they're elusive. Brittany Brayley making her debut this afternoon for the Jillaroos. Rowan Sims. And a firefighter throughout the week as well. Here's the kick. Studden puts in the kick downfield. Fetty Ika on the wing for the Ferns. Collects the ball. 12 metres away from their own goal line. 0-0 here on the NRL.com scoreboard. A lot of feeling in this match. Woodman sends it away to Peters, turning it back on the inside. And the Ferns. And of course, Corbin Sims, Rowan Sims' other brother, playing in the Newcastle Knights jersey, as we see now. This is Turner, teacher by trade, debuted last year. She hails from Mackay. 3 ladies going around for the Jillaroos, coming from Mackay. Strong defence there by the Ferns. 2 metres short of the halfway line. 0-0 on the NRL.com scoreboard. With the ball now, this is their captain in Hancock. Strong run, inspirational run down to the 40. Named captain throughout the week. Brigginshaw. Back to Kunst. Beat one. Last tackle coming up now for the Australian Jillaroos. Will they go high to the air? Brigginshaw. She's going to test Fata Ika. Did well. Diffused the situation there, Chris. 2 metres out from her own goal line. You're watching the Australian Jillaroos and the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns live and exclusive on NRL.com. Thanks for clicking on and showing your support for the ladies out here today in the precursor to the Kangaroos and Samoa clash. As we mentioned, both of these sides have not clashed, have not faced off since Headingley last year, where the Jillaroos came away with the points. But the first penalty coming up here to the Jillaroos, 30 metres out from the Ferns goal line.
That was a good thing, because that could have been done. That was Honey Hidame, who was highly rated. Kiwi captain, number 3. Looked like she was in space there. So Jillaroos again, another level.
It's a real attacking opportunity now for the home nation. They'll go well down inside the 20. And they find the line. 0-0 on the NRL.com scoreboard. Hancock, daughter of former Queensland and Kangaroo prop Rowan Hancock as well. She rang her father straight away when she was announced captain. Studden. Back to Sims. Strong tackle there from Fiesel. Here come the Jillaroos. 4 metres away. Didn't expect it, Hancock. 4 in there, trying to bring her to ground. 2 away. Brayley, ball goes 20 metres behind the Jillaroos. They've got to go back and clean it up. Hammond, offloading. Brigginshaw, Brander, straightening. 12 metres away from the Kiwi Ferns line. Eastern side is where they've got the ball, and that's where they're attacking, as you can see on your monitor. Brigginshaw. Ball goes into the in-goal area. Will they trap the Ferns in goal? What about that passage of play there by the Jillaroos? We're going to have a goal line drop out here. More pressure coming up for the Ferns.
Good play from the Jillaroos. They look a little bit unsettled, I think, perhaps need their half and 5'8" to take a little bit more leadership around the ruck. But they certainly look very willing. I think if they settle down, the points should come if they can maintain this style possession.
10 new players for the Kiwi Ferns going around here this afternoon from the World Cup as well last year at Headingley. Ballinger lives in Cairns and travels to Brisbane each week for South Logan. Phenomenal effort. This is Hancock. She's been as busy early on. And the captain at 32 years of age will receive a penalty right in front of the post. Well, what do they do here, Chris? Do they kick for goal or keep the pressure going?
I'd be inclined to take the 2 myself. I just think maybe the first points on the board could be something.
That's exactly what they do. And they take it forward now through Sims. Taken to the ground there by Maipie. Debuted in last year's World Cup for the Ferns. Brayley. Short. This is Kunst. She's been a Jillaroo since 2008. From Mackay. Brayley. Up quickly on Brigginshaw. Tackle her, ball and all. 0-0 on the NRL.com scoreboard. Jillaroos pressing. Studden. Overlap out here. Hammond. She's got a winger. She'll go herself and score the first try for the Jillaroos. Well, after 5 minutes on the NRL.com scoreboard, it's 4-0 with a kick to come. Well, Tim Sheens dubbed her the Billy Slater of the women's game. And that was right out of the book of the Melbourne fullback Billy Slater. So the Jillaroos, after 8 minutes on the NRL.com scoreboard, what a start for them. And it came off that nice little kick into the in-goal area, followed then by the penalty. And the first try goes to the 23-year-old player of the tournament last year at the Rugby League World Cup, Hammond. And what a year it was last year as well. Debuted for the Jillaroos. Now, this is Ali Brigginshaw looking to convert the Hammond try. just sprays to the left-hand side of the upright. So no change on the NRL.com scoreboard, Chris Bannerman. It is the Jillaroos leading the Ferns by 4 points to 0.
After 10 minutes, it's not a bad lead. The Jillaroos probably did need to score, though. They will settle and back this up with another try, because they do look the better team. I thought they were getting a little bit nervous. Australia leading the Kiwi Ferns 4 points to 0.
You're watching the live telecast on NRL.com. Also today for the Ferns, a lifelong dream for 3 Auckland-based sisters, Rona, Hilda and Kahurangi, the Peters sisters. A moment in history for the 3 ladies playing together this afternoon. So Australia, what a perfect start for them. The Jillaroos, that will grow them a lot of confidence, that's for sure. This is Sims losing the ball, though. Credit to the Ferns there, jolting the ball free. Scrum will pack down, 40 out from the Jillaroos line.
Kiwi's defence has been strong. Held out the Jillaroos for quite a period on their own line and started to match the Jillaroos with some of those big hits that they put on earlier. Kiwis aren't going to go away.
Well, the Kiwi Ferns have said this week they are out for revenge after their loss to Australia in last year's World Cup final. Let's see if they can bounce back here. 21 metres away from the Jillaroos line. First real defensive workout for the Jillaroos as the Ferns 14 metres away from the line. Woodman across this time to Mardiu. This is Fiesel. Dangerous Fiesel stepping, weaving down to the 8-metre line. Roos lead 4-0. Looking to strike back. This is Tupaia. Represented the New Zealand touch team last year as well. That was flat. Close though. Wasn't much in it. So it's the last tackle coming up for the Ferns. Where will it come this time? Will they dribble it into the in-goal area? That's what they do. Ball goes out of the park here, Chris. And it will result in a 20-metre tap to the Jillaroos. Of course, the inaugural World Cup was played back in the year 2000. The Ferns have come away with 3 victories, whilst the Jillaroos are the current title holders. Next World Cup back in will be in 2017. But this is a test match here today, here in Wollongong. First test match for women and also Australia men being played here in Wollongong. This is Brigginshaw. Back to Studden. She's going to kick in between the fullback and the winger. Goes out to Federica. And she's going to be dumped down in a strong tackle there by Maddie Studden over the top there. Chris, 15 short of the halfway line. So 14 minutes gone on the NRL.com scoreboard as the Ferns short of the halfway line. Peters offloading. Ball goes forward. I think you'll find our referee here this afternoon calls it up right on the halfway line. Well, they're going to be in for a long afternoon, the Ferns, if they allow the Jillaroos to go on the attack in their end of the field. We know what sort of attacking prowess they can display at any given time.
I think that's the advantage the Jillaroos probably have in terms of attack. I think the Kiwis are probably a bigger side physically, so the Jillaroos maintain possession and bring the Kiwis around. That probably will open up an advantage for the Jillaroos. So the Kiwis probably do need to ensure that they're not giving them cheap ball.
This is Apps. Taken away there by Mardiu. Back to Brown. Good strong tackle. Brayley. Down to the 30-metre line. "30 metres away. Ballinger has to go out and reach for it. She's done well. Brayley, Studden, looking for Hammond, goes herself. Still going. Ballinger lives in Cairns, of course. Back for Brayley. Oh, the ball's gone through the fingertips of the captain in Hancock. Well, I thought for a moment there we would have seen their second try. How many times has Steph Hancock been able to fly on the ball with pace and determination in the opening 15 minutes of this match?
Very impressed with both Australian goals here. Remarks seems a lot of gusto and really caused the defensive problem.
Well, Honey Hitomi, also known in the game as Honey Bill Williams, due to her prowess in both union and league, they've been able to shut her down. She hasn't been able to get much of the ball thus far. But I think the Ferns, they have had success in the World Cup on the edge. But it looks like today they're trying to make meters through the middle. Maybe that's a ploy, a tactic. But thus far, not quite working for them as they approach the halfway line inside the Australian territory. Offloading back there now to the 40-metre mark they go. Mardiu bangs it between the fullback and the winger. Hammond, will that ball sit up? It just drops over the dead ball line. Well, they had the right idea, just too much oomph on the kick there, Chris.
People at home watching will notice Ryan Sims. One thing I noticed this year in watching her play for the Tigers, she's exceptionally good at wrapping up the ball, getting the long down in the back. I don't know if she learned that in the back over the brothers, but that's a real strength of hers. She seems to be really able to manage the ball carrier and get around quickly, and it's really good.
Chris Bannerman in the NRL.com commentary box here this afternoon. Brander, always elusive when she goes into dummy half. Took a little pressure off Brayley there. On debut, of course, and it Brander represented the NRL All-Stars this year. 5 metres short of the halfway line. 21st minute of the match. This is Sims. Of course, a firefighter throughout the week. Works in the Sydney CBD. It's a fire rescue fire lady, firewoman. 4-0 here on the NRL.com scoreboard. Where's the kick going to go now? They switch the play away from the western to the eastern side of the field, as you can see. And this is Tupaia, represented the New Zealand touch team, Chris, this year, and also making her 2014 debut for the Ferns here today.
She looks like a handful, doesn't she, when she gets the ball too high? She's caused a few headaches for the Jillaroos out there, so I wouldn't be kicking to her too often.
Serena Fiesel, mother of 2 precious gremlin kids. She calls her 2 beloved ones, and she loves the Queensland Maroons as well. And Billy Slater. Seems like Billy Slater is a firm favourite for all the ladies out here this afternoon as they come wide to the 40-metre line. Last tackle coming up now for the Ferns. Hitomi. Maipii. Well, there's a reason why props don't kick, and that's why. But it's still on. So what will they do now? Fortu Mulala. She says, I'll have a kick. If the prop's going to kick, the second rower may as well take the kick, Chris.
Well, they were 2 ordinary kicks back-to-back. The Kiwis probably need to lift that part of their game, their kicking game, to cause the Jillaroos some headaches. But that's let the Jillaroos off the hook a little bit easily without too much pressure down there.
So 20 minutes gone here on the NRL.com scoreboard with Peter Jolly and Chris Bannerman, who's the manager at the Illawarra District Rugby League, in the outside broadcast box. For a moment, I thought we were in England, but I don't think we'd have this type of weather.
And you wouldn't have that many people sitting on the hill in T-shirts, mate.
Enjoying a Coca-Cola or two. As we see now, the Jillaroos crossing the halfway line. This is Kunst. She's been a Jillaroos since 2008. Another one hailing from Mackay. Crossing it to the lock forward in Sims. Hasn't she been busy? I'd like to know how many times she's been able to get her hands on the ball as the Ferns have to toughen up as the Jillaroos will bang it into touch and they find the line 15 metres out from the Kiwis Ferns line. On the NRL.com scoreboard, it's the Jillaroos leading by 4 points to 0.
Well, a quarter of the match is gone and the Jillaroos up by 4. They probably think they maybe should be up by a little bit more, but the Kiwis are hanging on and the Jillaroos just looking like they're starting to settle into the match, so this could be anyone's.
Well, the Ferns, they've been in camp all week in Auckland. They flew to Sydney Friday night. They've been based in Penrith for the last 72 hours. So definitely not a skip and a jump to WIN Stadium. About an hour and a half, an hour to the Western Districts of Sydney as the Ferns now. Although it's all been the Jillaroos, I think they'd be happy with 18 minutes remaining in the first 40, only to be down by 4 points to 0. Anyone's test match here at WIN Stadium as the sun beaming down. As the Ferns now. This is one of the 3 Peters sisters with the ball. Kahu Rangi speaks fluent Maori as well. Speaking of fluent role play, look at the ball over the 20. They're dropped down. Great cover tackle there from the Jillaroos. The Ferns go wide. Where's their winger? They've got the ball to Pyre. She's into touch. Well, great scrambling play there from the Jillaroos.
Well, again, the Jillaroos hang on. The Kiwis throw a lot at them. They look like they've got plenty in attack, but the Jillaroos managed to thwart another attacking raid from the Kiwi Ferns.
Well, we said earlier, Chris, the Ferns last year, they applied a lot of pressure on the edge, and it looks like today, if they're going to crack the Jillaroos line, looks like the edge they might have to exploit.
Well, they'd be certainly wise to go back to that right-hand side. That seems to be where they're causing the Jillaroos plenty of problems.
Mate, we've had 20 minutes of the match. Steve Folkes, the coach of the Australian Jillaroos, how do you think he'd be faring right now?
Well, I think, folks, he's never one to show a lot of humility in the box. I think he'd be probably a little bit tense, and I think he probably thinks his team should be up a little bit more, or probably further ahead on the scoreboard. So if things don't change, they might get a bit of a spray at half-time, but another 20 minutes odd to go. This could change either way on the scoreboard.
Thoughts there from the Illawarra CEO, Chris Bannerman, doing a great job in this part of the world. Of course, one of the best country rugby league competitions going around. The Illawarra Rugby League and, of course, the Newcastle Rugby League. And we'd like to thank everybody who is out there in the country world of rugby league for their competitions. And now here today, the test match. History also in the making for both of these sides. It's the first time the women will also be getting a check at the end of the 80 minutes. Win, lose, or draw. Each of the ladies will be receiving $500 on top of their allowances as well. So progress definitely being made in the women's game as the Ferns. 15 minutes remaining in the first half. 4-all on the NRL.com scoreboard. With Peter Jolly and Chris Bannerman here in the beautiful outside broadcast box that NRL.com is providing. You wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Out in all the elements is the play of the day. As the Ferns now, they're out in all the elements. They've got to boot the ball high to the air, down to the 20-metre line. Dead well there, the Jillaroos at the back. Heyman comes down with an absolute spectacular catch, 20 out from their own line.
Well, again, the Kiwi Ferns keep throwing plenty at us in attack. Jillaroos hanging on, and that penalty will come in handy. They're probably gasping a little bit now. I noticed Steve Folkes has made 2 interchanges, and the Kiwis, I don't think, have gone to the interchange benches yet, so he obviously feels that the Australians need some fresh legs.
$4-0, 15 minutes out from half-time. This is Eliana Walton. Been with the Jillaroos since 2009. Interesting stat. Born a New Zealander, though. was the information that was passed on to us throughout the week. As the Jillaroos now back to Walton, to the 40-metre line. Few players coming out from the interchange for the Jillaroos. Ferns tightening in defence. Well, they're not just tackling in ones or twos, they're tackling in three or fours, that's for sure. This is Young escorting a gap from dummy half. Back to Kunst. Last tackle now. Jillaroos, which way will they go? They're going to work the eastern side. Little kick in between fullback and the winger. Goes downfield. Pressure coming through from the Jillaroos. Good defence there, Chris Bannerman. 5 out from the Ferns goal line.
The Jillaroos have bristled up when they've had the ball down this end of the field, haven't they? Or been attacking in this end of the field. And their defence is certainly backing their attacking game, putting the Kiwi Ferns under pressure when they kick into those corners.
So the Jillaroos will be looking to bang them inside their own half at every opportunity. But speaking of creating havoc, that's what they're doing now. And away they do go over the halfway line. Australia's coming from behind. Hidemi takes over the touchline. Well, what a great tackle there from the Jillaroos. That is a try-saving tackle.
Well, that's exactly what Sam Hammond's capable of. She's very fast, she's very strong, and she's got a very level head on her. And from the moment that Honey Harima got through that gap, Sam Hammond pinned her ears back and gave her a bit of the sideline, then made intentions clear to get her over there with every step she took, and she did well.
Oh, what a game Hammond's having. She's picked up the first try in the 8th minute, and she stopped possibly another, well, the first try of the afternoon for the Ferns. If Hammond wasn't back there, would have been shut the gate. So Studden, local Helensburgh product on debut as well. She's overcome a broken leg, I believe, Chris, in the months leading up to this fixture.
Yeah, broke a leg in the final rounds of the Women in the Army Illawarra League, and this is her first match back, so she's done incredibly well to worked hard, I know, to get back to this situation. Sam Hammond also had a bad injury in the latter part of the year, but got back for the grand final. But this is Maddie's first game since her injury, so she's done very well to get here, and she's making a debut count. She's doing well.
This is Julie Young from Newcastle. Works with the New South Wales Police. Police freed her up to make her return in this match. She came out of retirement, actually. Julie Young wasn't expecting to play another game for the Jillaroos, and it wasn't until early in the week that the New South Wales Police gave her the all clear to play for her beloved Jillaroos. So we're now approaching the 30th minute of the first half as we count down to the Four Nations match later on this afternoon between the Australian Kangaroos and Samoa. First time a test match has been played in your neck of the woods, Chris.
Yeah, we had a World Cup match between France and Fiji in 2008, which was really well received, but first time a test match outside of a World Cup has been played here, and a lot of international matches historically against touring teams with Illawarra in the old Southern Division many years ago. But this is great for the locals. I think we're going to have a good crowd out here this afternoon, enjoying the sunshine and a great test match.
Murray plays it. Back to Woodman. Good tackle. Heavy stuff there by Heather Ballinger. Woodman again. It's on to the eastern side of the field. Can they offload? Couldn't quite get the arm away with the ball. Woodman, Peters, Fiesel. Inside the Jillaroos 20-metre line. Last tackle coming up for the Ferns. Lopie goes herself. Oh, they've gone without it. Hidemi's put it down. Well, they're looking the goods, but unfortunately, the control of the ball has been a bit unfortunate so far.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Kiwi Ferns, Honey Hidemi's had probably a couple of half chances and either drop ball or Sam Hammond have thwarted those. But she does look the goods, and she's the reputation of Honey Bill Williams. I mean, that's got to create some pressure if you carry a name like that. She certainly looks like she's got the goods, though.
Played a lot of rugby. Their captain, Honey Hidemi, played at the Rugby Sevens last year in the World Cup women's side for New Zealand over in Moscow. coming across to rugby league. I guess a lot of tactical changes that she would have had to have adapted to. This is Kunst. She's been a Jillaroos since 2008. 9 minutes remaining in the first half. Ballinger. Unbelievable. Heather Ballinger lives in Cairns and travels each week to Brisbane. It's amazing, Chris, how many miles, how many kilometres these ladies have to travel between their hometowns to take to the field.
It's amazing. It shows great dedication, doesn't it? I think some of the guys wouldn't even do that. We've got Heather Ballinger from Cairns. We've got Renee Kunst from Mackay that travels down to Brisbane. And Kezzy Apps lives in Bega and drives the 5-hour trip to Helensburgh at least once a week to play with the Helensburgh Tiger Lilies. It's a fantastic effort by these girls and just reward for them to make the Jillaroos team.
Live and exclusive on NRL.com. Test match between the Australian Jillaroos and the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns. We have 7 minutes remaining in the first 40. Over there to collect it is Turner. A few Queenslanders, more than a few, in the Jillaroos side, along with 6 new players since winning the World Cup last year at Headingley. This is Karina Brown. Debuted at the Rugby League World Cup last year. She's from Burleigh. Another Queenslander. Proud Queenslander, as they will all tell you, that is for sure. They go over the halfway line now. Sulusi, a member of the NRL All-Stars squad as well. The youngest out there for the Jillaroos as well, only 16 years of age. They'll find the touchline if that ball wants to go right, and it does. Sometimes, Chris, balls have a mind of their own. We know that.
That's a lovely kick from Maddie Studden, though, right into the corner. Puts the Kiwi Ferns firmly under some pressure, and the Jillaroos where they want to be positionally in the field.
Great to have Chris Bannerman, who's the manager at the Illawarra District Rugby League, in our outside broadcast box. And we'd like to thank Channel 9 for allowing everybody to be a part of the coverage here today. We've set up shop right between their chief cameraman on the halfway line. So to David Gingell and Steve Crawley and Matt Callender. Thanks for the opportunity today as the Ferns. 4-0. 6.5 minutes remaining. Oh, this could be costly for them. Walton attacking 12 metres away. The 16ers with it. Tialfa on debut. Looking to cross for the second time, leading into half-time. Brigginshaw smashed over there by Huddleston, who's on debut for the Ferns as well. 10 new players in for the Ferns, 6 for the Australians. Hammond, good ball. Hopper made a big 40-metre break in the World Cup final as well last year. She's got blistering pace. 13 is with it. This is Sims. And the firefighter. The flame. Distinguished not to her. Back to the left-hand side of the field. Brigginshaw offloading. Walton, hard to stop. 4 over the top. Which way will they explore? They come the commentary side. Studden kicking for Brown. Was she taken out of the play? We'll go upstairs and have a look at this, or something's going to happen. She's come down with it, but by gee, if she's got this down, a phenomenal effort for the Jillaroos, because I thought for a moment, Chris, that high shot would have been the talking point.
Well, I think the Kiwi winger actually took the Jillaroos winger out before she had the ball, but I think in coming down on the field of play, she's managed to get a hand onto the ball, which is a great effort.
And they've given the try. So the second try, 4.5 minutes remaining in the first half. And golly gosh, she's back up on her feet. But she knows she's got the second try of the afternoon for the Jillaroos.
I think that might be number 2, Karina Brown from Burleigh Heads.
Number 3, I think they're congratulating, who is Jenny Sue Hopper from Cairns.
So Ali Brigginshaw, 24 years of age, putting the ball on the mound. She's a courier driver throughout the week. Also captained the 2014 NRL All-Stars against the Indigenous Stars. Here's the kick from the touchline. She's bringing it back around. Just fades to the left-hand side of the crossbar. So no change on the NRL.com scoreboard. 4 minutes ago before halftime. It's the Australian Jillaroos leading by 8 points to 0.
Well, I think Coach Steve Folkes will be a little bit happier with that. It's probably an indication of the Jillaroos' superiority in attack, I think. But the Kiwis have really hung in there, and the Jillaroos probably needed to go to the sheds with an 8 or 10 point lead, which would have reflected their dominance in the first half. So getting to that 8 point lead, I think, will be a positive for the Jillaroos to take to the sheds.
It's been tough. It's been a match that will be memorable, not just for the ladies out there, but for the fans. And you'll be able to watch the replay if you're not tuning in right now live on NRL.com in the weeks ahead. So the Jillaroos approach the halfway line. The youngest out there on the field is with it. This is Sulusi. Also starred in the NRL All-Stars match earlier this year. Brigginshaw put down inside the Ferns territory. Dangerous time of the match if you're the Ferns. As the Jillaroos told to get up and play the ball. Brigginshaw takes them on. Looking dangerous. Last tackle. This is Young. Studden. Ricocheted off a hand of a Fern. Goes back to the winger. Infeta Ika making her debut. Losing it. Referee has given a penalty here to the Ferns, Chris, with 2.5 minutes remaining in the first half.
Well, I'm sure they'll be grateful for that. 8-0 down and under the pump with 2 minutes to half time. That they can hang on to the ball now and go to the sheds. They'll probably be happy to get away with that.
A lot of support coming from across the ditch as we speak on NRL.com. We welcome our neighbours from across the Pacific to the live and exclusive coverage. If you'd like to get in contact with us here in the commentary box, hashtag NRL or hashtag Jillaroos, or alternatively, there's a third method, hashtag Kiwi Ferns. And we'll endeavour to get your tweets out throughout the course of the afternoon. Not the best kick you'll ever see. Unfortunately, Fediika has lost that ball. Well, a late call from the ref. So they're inviting the Jillaroos here, Chris, with 1.5 minutes on the clock to go in the first half, to have a fantastic sniff 30 metres out from the Ferns goal line.
Yeah, that was a sloppy end of that set from the Kiwi Ferns. They really needed a good set and a good clearance. The bad kick, and Karina Brown was all over her opposite number like a bad suit. So Jillaroos might have one last crack here before the halftime break with a minute to go.
And a nice crowd. A healthy crowd. Building here at Wynn Stadium as we count down to the Four Nations test later on this afternoon between the Kangaroos and the Samoans. But the limelight on the Jillaroos, who are fairly nervous coming into this match. Will they lead by 8 points to 0? Over there, opposition in the Ferns. Sulusi. 8-0 on the NRL.com scoreboard. Walton losing it. Scrum will pack down 20 metres out.
Looks like the heat out there, which would be pretty high out there with a nice sunny day and only a slight breeze coming from the south. I think the girls are probably feeling the pinch, and they're all pretty keen to get to the sheds now.
5 seconds remaining. Will the scrum have time to pack? This is the last throw of the dice for the Ferns here. Siren goes in the background. Rona Peters takes the tackle. And that's half time here in the test match between the Australian Jillaroos and the Kiwi Ferns. We go to the break with the Jillaroos leading by 8 points to 0. Thoughts of the first half, Chris?
Well, I think the Jillaroos showed, as you said, that they weren't dominant, but they were nervous early, and it really took them probably about 20 minutes to settle into the match. And I think now they've got to an 8-0 lead, they'll probably feel a little bit happier about their situation. But the Kiwis hung on for a long time. They've got a bit ragged, I thought, in the last 10 minutes, the Kiwis. A bit more drop ball than they showed earlier in the match, and the Kiwis do probably need to tidy up their game. Otherwise, I think the Jillaroos might get a couple of more tries in the second half and put a decent score on them. So they're going to have to be very careful of their ball control and just the discipline in their game to stay with the Jillaroos, I think, Pete.
Thoughts there from Chris Bannerman, the CEO of the Illawarra Rugby League down here in Wollongong. We'd like to thank Chris for his time this afternoon in the outside broadcast box. As we count down to the big test match later on this afternoon, you'll be able to watch that live and exclusive on the 9 Network. But right now, it's 8-0. The Aussies over the New Zealanders here in the test match at WIN Stadium. Well, we spoke about how different, Chris, these sides are from the last time they went around. A few nerves early on, but all the ladies, they're pretty much gelling together.
Well, you're probably right. A lot of the nervousness, I think, that showed early probably come about because we've got quite a few girls making their debut, and I think, as you said, the Jillaroos probably felt a lot of pressure in the first match against the Kiwis in actually defending their World Cup crown. And it did show, and I think both sides have showed a little bit of nervousness at times, but they're starting to settle into it nicely now. But I think the Kiwis they've probably got through their nerves, but they're falling a little bit behind in their execution, I think. They've been a little bit ragged. So while the Jillaroos, I think, seem to be warming to the task and getting better as they play more football together, I think the Kiwis have just sort of taken their eye off the ball a little bit. It's something they're going to have to pay some attention to, and no doubt their coach, Rusty Matua, is going to be talking to them about that at halftime.
Well, as we know, the first test for the Jillaroos without their long-term retired captain, Karen Murphy, who was often referred to being the Wally Lewis of the women's game. But now it's up to the newly appointed captain, Steph Hancock, to hit the ground running, and hit the ground running she has.
She has. Steph Hancock's been fantastic, I thought, leading from the front. She had a great initial stint. I thought she was well backed up by Heather Ballinger and Ruan Sims. I thought really added some punch to the Australian forwards, and they bent the Kiwi line back a number of times. Heather Ballinger also put some great shots on her opposition forward pack, which I think set the tone early for the Kiwis. It really made them watch what they were doing in terms of carting the ball up. I think Heather Ballinger put a bit of a fear into them, quite frankly, with a few very good shots. Just allowed the Jillaroos to get on the front foot early, which is really helpful for them, and get that first try and probably get rid of those nerves.
And, of course, the Aussie new faces in the squad this afternoon, if you've missed it. Maddie Studden going around, Brittany Brayley, Kezzy Apps, Annette Brander, Maima T. Alpha, and Vanessa Foley-Arki. And, of course, a few of the ladies come from this part of the world here in Wollongong.
Yeah, Pete, we do have the Women in the Army Illawarra League competition here. We're lucky enough to have 4 girls from the Helensburgh Tigers who are in this Jillaroos squad. Sam Hammond, Maddie Studden, Kezzy Apps, and Ruan Sims. So the Helensburgh Tiger Lilies, of course, won the local competition 46-6, I think, over the Port Kembla Blacks. As you would expect with a side with that many representative players.
Okay, well, what we might do, we might take a break here from WIN Stadium, and we'll come back for the second 40. You're listening and watching NRL.com's live stream here from Wollongong. At half-time, the Australian Jillaroos leading the New Zealand Ferns by 8 points to 0. Get a gig next year? Yeah. Oh, you want to gig with me? Yeah. You got part TV, don't you? Yeah. 1-2. How's the feedback, Nick? Have you been? Anyone bagging us, mate?
No, I haven't bagged it.
No?
I haven't bagged it.
You haven't bagged us yet?
No, you're going good. No, good call. Good call.
Good calling. Oh, Mr. John. I knew the wind was going to play havoc, so I was stuck.
At least you've got a better position. This is what I was saying before about in the stadium. At least you've got an elevation here. This is what
Yeah.
from down there, you just feel like you're too
Far away.
over here. You're just perfect.
Okay, cool.
You're calling well, as I said.
All right. Thank you, Nick. $20 later. Alright. Now the
best TV call
on the train.
I would love to have a go calling TV.
Would ya?
I would love to have a go calling.
I don't know what I'm calling here today. I mean, I'm just a bit in the middle of both, I think.
Oh well. So you're staying back for the second game or not?
Mate, no, I'm going to England tomorrow.
Yeah, excellent. Why?
Got a bit of a little job.
We know we're operating one, let's go with that.
What is the gym?
I'm going to go over. England are playing Slovenia at Wembley on Saturday night.
Yeah.
I'm going to write their articles, and they've asked me over to fa.com.au or Football Federation. So it's wow. Things,
Sunday morning. Live from England.
Live from England.
Live from England. Let's go to the Premier Shop. Hey, I've got the music for you
I
too.
put honey in that.
I've got the music for you too. BBC mentioned today. That's your music, you know what? Because you're up in the fairies half the time anyway. That's why we said the perfect music to use. Some others do that.
Oh, Frank's bench. I know, wherever I go.
Yeah, it's good. And trouble is, that microphone, the guy in Wagga is taking a stream, says it sounds great. But Nigel from NRL Films, you can't hear it. So we'll just go,
Jared can hear it.
that's where he's based.
Oh, really? This one's all right?
Yeah, that one's fine.
Yeah, I can get a bit loud. Alright, I'll talk to you soon. See you, Nick. Righto, Chris.
Might be able to move in closer, mate. You might
Mate,
cuddle. It's disturbing, is that 40?
Mate, you want to get a quick pic?
Hey?
Get a quick pic. That's down.
Oh, right, okay. Is that all right? Yeah, mate, should line all the beers up in front of us?
Get the cameras in somewhere. It's a good one. Right, tweet you're in.
Jesus, Samoan. Look at the bloody hill, it's all Samoans.
Yeah.
Look at the huge sport. It's the bloody Blue people better get in. Samoan Blue. It was Wagga, got the try, so Southampton and Hopper got the tries.
New Zealand back on the field, three-time world champions up against the reigning world champions, the Australian Jillaroos. Once again, let's make some noise for both teams this afternoon.
Oh, Chris. Mate, this all goes out the window when you sit down, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I could just, oh,
We
mate.
can try to string it all together.
And welcome back to the NRL.com's live and exclusive coverage between the Australian Jillaroos and the Kiwi Ferns. We're just about to get set for the second 40. Peter Jolly and Chris Bannerman, who's the manager at the Illawarra District Rugby League, in the NRL.com outside broadcast box here this afternoon. Crowd steadily building for the Four Nations later this afternoon between the Kangaroos and the Samoans. But right now, it's all in front of the Kiwi Ferns. They're trailing by 8 points to 0. The Jillaroos, will they go on with it? Or will the Ferns claw their way back into the contest? As we see now, the Jillaroos in their first or second hit up of the second 40. Thanks for tuning in to NRL.com for live streaming. Hashtag NRL, hashtag Ferns, or hashtag Jillaroos, and send a message of support to the ladies out here today. They cross the halfway line for the first time. Brander, put away there by Maipee. Second year with the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns. Kelly Maipee, who was over the top. They're going to kick off the boot now of Brigginshaw. Goes over the top of Fiesel. The ball might sit up in the in-goal area. She'll be hoping that it goes dead in goal. Takes one last turn. So back out to the 20. 1.5 minutes gone here in the test match. In the second half. Okay. Ferns down by 8 points to 0.
Well, Pete, I think the Kiwi Ferns really probably do need to get the first try. Not only just stay in touch with the Jillaroos, but a bit of a confidence booster, because I think their execution fell away a bit towards the back end of that first half. So a try is probably just what they need to get them back into the contest and get their confidence levels up so that they can be here at the back end of the game to stay in touch with the Jillaroos and remain close enough to the scoreboard to pinch the game.
Looking good with the ball here. Fiesel knocked down by Brigginshaw. They go over the halfway line. Fiesel stepping, weaving, trying to look for support. But Brander, on debut, was there for the Jillaroos to knock her down. This is Hilda Peters, playing with her two sisters for the first time in Ferns colours. Kelly Maipee debuted in last year's World Cup for the Ferns. To the right-hand side, they come. Great ball. This is Peters. She'll pin the ears back and get the try. The first try for the Ferns. Well, we've had to wait 50 minutes, but there it is. 8-4 with a kick to come.
That was a lovely try to the Kiwi Ferns. Hilda Peters did very well. It was a nice ball that she took, but she made great effort to get to the line, plus showed plenty of speed. That's just what the Kiwi Ferns needed. That right side attack again seems to be the thorn in the Jillaroos' defence. The Kiwis going back to the right opened up the Jillaroos, and they opened them up quite well, and Hilda Peters did really well to get to the line with plenty of pace. So the Jillaroos have got to look at that left side defence. It's a bit of an issue for them.
Well, Hilda Peters on debut and picks up her first try. What a memorable day. They now just need to go on with it to make it even more memorable. Of course, Rona Peters, the youngest ever Fern, the number 7, one of her sisters, to debut as a 16-year-old in 2003. So the Peters sisters, definitely ones to watch in Women's Rugby League. Mardiu with the kick. And she had the extras. Has she got the distance? Just misses, just under the crossbar. So no change on the NRL.com scoreboard. It is the Kiwi Ferns now getting closer, inching their way closer to the Jillaroos on the NRL.com scoreboard. Jillaroos leading by 8 points to 4.
Yeah, just what they needed, Pete, that confidence boost. And they've got it early in the second half too. So we've got a game now.
We've got a game. Stay with us. NRL.com, live and exclusive today. Just looking down at the bench, Chris. The captain's still on the bench. Steph Hancock. Kezzy Apps is on the bench, along with Heather Ballinger and Brittany Brayley. So that's pretty much their entire front and back row on the bench.
Yeah, well, it does happen sometimes when teams take some of their strike players off in mass, and probably showing a little bit with the Jillaroos, even though they've been strong. That's a good result for the Jillaroos. They've got the kickoff's gone out. They will get the feed. So Jillaroos on the front foot. Hopefully they won't miss particularly their front rowers who have been so good in the early part of the game. Hopefully the replacements continue the momentum for them.
Well, Adafai Tupaya, the winger, over here on the commentary side. Couldn't quite get to the ball in time. So the Jillaroos have found touch. And this is why we're seeing the scrum being fed by Maddie Studden. Overcame a broken leg to take her place at halfback. 8-4. The Jillaroos leading the way. First opportunity now for them in the second half. Walton. Spinning it back through the middle. Tialfa. 2 metres away from the Ferns line. Brigginshaw wants the ball. She's got it. They're up quickly, but she offloaded it. Hammond stepping. They call her the Billy Slater. That's why. Stepping, weaving, offloading. This is Young straightening. Taking the tackle there of My P. 8 metres away from the line. This is Brigginshaw. Short ball. The Ferns desperate in defence. Last tackle coming up for the Jillaroos. Will they dribble it? Will they lose it? I think they've lost the ball. They've put it down here, Chris. 2 out from the Ferns line.
Well, that's unfortunate. Rowan Sims hit a beautiful line there and nearly busted the Kiwi defence. Sloppy play the ball, it's cost them, but Jillaroos looking dangerous there. I thought they may have come back this left side because the Kiwis did look short. There was an opportunity there for the Jillaroos, but a chance gone begging for the Jillaroos that may come back to haunt them.
Few interchange players looking to go on for the Kiwi Ferns. Tuela Fortumorala just doing a bit of a warm down. She'll be back out there very shortly. Very hot afternoon here in Wollongong. And steamy defence there from the Jillaroos led by Sims. Woodman, flat. Lower Pepe. Doesn't want to go to ground. Now they put her down. 5 metres away from the halfway line. Peters. Lower Pepe. Dead well. Overlap. Needs a ball out wide of their winger. That's what they've done. Feta Ika. To the halfway line. 8 minutes gone on the NRL.com scoreboard. It's the Jillaroos leading 8-4. They go high to the air. Brander takes it well, takes it comfortably. Finished off there by a great shot from Lower Pepe. Welcome to Wynn Stadium, she says. This is Hammond beating one, beating two, beating the third. Slipping over at the feet there of Hitami, the captain. Honey Bill Williams, they know her over in New Zealand land because of her prowess in union and rugby league circles. So this game is alive and well. That is for sure. Anyone's ball game. Jillaroos receive a penalty. Penalty here, Chris, right on the halfway line.
You'd have to say, Pete, though, that the Kiwi Ferns have gone up a gear. They seem to be executing much better in attack. The Jillaroos' defence has held firm, but Kiwi certainly getting some confidence out of that early try, which they're going to be dangerous. The Jillaroos can't take them lightly now.
As Kizzy Apps comes back out onto the field. First year in rugby league, I understand, from Bega, and travels up each week to play for Helensburgh, Chris.
Yeah, and she's an exceptional talent. I've seen her do some amazing things on the rugby league field this year. Her brother's Dion Apps used to be a player at South Sydney, and she obviously shown that she's learned a little bit in the backyard with her brothers, because I've seen she can hit like a male. She really does drop the shoulder and bury people when she wants to. She's an exceptional talent.
This is Brigginshaw. Kunst. Maipi over the top. Another penalty to the Jillaroos. Fiesel going across to ask the question to the referee as the Newcastle girl. Julie Young takes the tap. Gives it away to Tialfa. 4 metres away from the line. 8-4 on the NRL.com scoreboard. Lost the ball there. Well, that happened right in front of the referee. Time off here. There's concern here for one of the Jillaroos. As you can see, on her stomach, right in front of the goalpost here. So we've got a stoppage in play at 8-4 on the NRL.com scoreboard.
Well, that's a let-off for the Kiwis. They'd given away penalties back-to-back, and the Jillaroos were looking more dangerous all the time. But obviously an injured player there and a turnover for possession. The Kiwis probably hung on there, and that's what they need to stay close to the Jillaroos if they're going to be in this contest.
Down is Eliana Walton, 24 years of age. Trainer calling for a little bit more of assistance as she staggers to her feet. I don't think we'll be seeing much more of Walton this afternoon, as a few Jillaroos look like to be injected into the contest.
Heather Ballinger looks like she's coming off the bench to replace Eliana Walton, who's not looking too good at all, unfortunately for her. She's had a good impact while she's been in the game, so that's a blow for the Jillaroos. But Heather Ballinger's great early on. She'll add some starch back into the both the defence and the attack of the Jillaroos.
So just a bit of background on both of these sides. If you've missed the first 50 minutes of the match, it was all Australia on the scoreboard in the first 10 minutes, as Heather Ballinger goes back out there, the girl from Cairns, and she'll head straight into the scrum and pack a head in the front row. You're listening to the test match with Peter Jolly and Chris Bannerman, live and exclusive at Wynn Stadium here in Wollongong. 8 points to 4. 4-point ball game here in favour of the Australian Jillaroos. The Ferns, they need to lift and they need to get back into this match ASAP. Kunst over the top, putting Maipi into the turf, the lush turf here, nicely mowed. Ball goes out in front of Dudley. Now it goes behind, but the referee, she's going to call this one up again. So Scanlon's out there as well for the Ferns. She's been on the bench for the last 15-odd minutes. So pretty much they got their whole nucleus of their run-on squad out there. The Kiwi Ferns, as we go inside the last 28 minutes here on NRL.com. But the Jillaroos, the home nation of Australia, leading the charge thus far. Speaking of charging, this is Kezzy Apps to the 40-metre line. One of the locals down here in Wollongong, hailing from the south coast of Bega, centre of the field. Who wants the ball now? Back to Sims, offloading. And they're dropped down, as you can see from your monitor, 28 metres out from the goal line of the Ferns. They come the commentary side. Short ball. This is Kunst from Mackay. 24 metres out. Jillaroos. Are we about to see them extend their margin on the NRL.com scoreboard? Brander, she charges into the line. Peters goes down low. Over the top there was Hilda Peters. Last tackle coming up. Brigginshaw kicking. Ball will go close to the in-goal area. Didn't quite go into the in-goal area. I thought for a moment she wanted to get the ball back, but now the Ferns have the possession outside their own 10-metre line, and the defence swarms in, led there by Ballinger, and the 30-year-old bangs them down, 15 out from their own goal line.
She certainly makes her presence felt, doesn't she, Heather Ballinger? Now she's back in the match. I think the Kiwis will be a bit mindful that she's there in the defensive line when they're taking a hit up.
Thoughts there from the CEO of the Illawarra Rugby League, Chris Bannerman, in the NRL.com broadcast box. Here's a penalty, Chris, to the Ferns. Well, they've struggled to get outside their own half, haven't they? Pretty much for the entire second half. But now they have that opportunity if they can find touch. And they don't. Well, not their day. Big tackle over the top, and we've got a bit of biff. The test match has a bit of feeling in it. The girls come from everywhere. Renee Kunst on the end of a whopper. The crowd has come to life, but that all stemmed from the Ferns not having the ability to find touch. They were going for distance, but they just couldn't find the line. And then the Jillaroos, well, now they're let off the hook. They've got a penalty, and they go back inside Ferns half, and they find the line, 42 metres out from the Kiwi Ferns goal line.
It's a big turnaround, isn't it? The Kiwis really needed that penalty in that set of 6. So now that the Jillaroos are back on the attack, so it's just more pressure on the Kiwis. They've really got to muscle up in defence and hang in there, and all that tackling does burn up energy in this heat.
Young gets it across to the 13. And Ruan Sims losing the ball. Back to the Ferns. Scanlon bagged a try against Australia in the World Cup final last year at Henningley as well. Hilda Peters scored the only try for the Ferns here this afternoon. Is the pendulum about to swing? They go out wide. They turn it back on the inside. They're stepping. They're weaving. And this is Hitami. She's dropped down. 31 metres out from the line. Comes back there now to Lapia. She charges. Can she offload? She looked up. Common sense prevailed in the end. Taking the tackle. Ball comes back then out of Peters. They're going to kick into the in-goal area. Turners may have to play at it. No. It goes over the touchline in goal, Chris. So back out to the 20 to the Jillaroos.
Well, the Kiwis will be looking to keep the Jillaroos down on this end of the field. That's what they need to, and just build some pressure on the Jillaroos. Cheap turnovers aren't going to help the Kiwis. They need to stay in this match and put some pressure back on the Jillaroos in their own territory and wait for those errors.
(8-4) on the NRL.com scoreboard. The Jillaroos hanging on to their 4-point margin as they cross the 40 and work it towards the halfway line. Nice healthy crowd they're playing in front of too in here for the match we're seeing. Great support from the fans to come down early to watch the women's test match unfold. Sims, she's been everywhere in attack and defence. Last tackle coming up for the Jillaroos. Studden. Ball goes down to the 10. Federica. They call her the selfie queen. No doubt she's taking a few pictures throughout the last 7 days in camp. This is Hitami. 30 metres away from the line. Mardiu. Bit of spring in their step. Slow play the ball. Fiesel takes him on. Hopper wraps her up. Losing the ball. Strong tackle. And this is Hancock, the captain. The 32-year-old daughter of former Queensland and kangaroo prop. Rowan Hancock. 3 in there from the Ferns. 22 minutes remaining here on NRL.com. You're with Peter Jolly and Chris Bannerman, the CEO of the Illawarra Rugby League. Sims again. Wrapped up by Mulmul. This is her debut year. Lilietta Mulmul for the Ferns. Brigginshaw inside the 30. 8-4. The Australians in front. Studden. Hammond. Throwing the ball at every opportunity, aren't they, the Jillaroos? And this is where they're tackled. 25 metres out from the Ferns goal line. Apps flying onto the ball. She's nearly gone straight through. Last tackle coming up. 8-4 on the NRL scoreboard. Brigginshaw. Here come the Jillaroos. Back to Brander. Oh, good tackle there by the Ferns on the last tackle as well. Turnover back to the Ferns.
There's plenty of exciting play the girls are throwing up, isn't it? And I think people who are watching a women's rugby league match for the first time might be impressed. Certainly there's plenty of passion and effort in the defence. They're not out here exchanging blows with handbags, and there's plenty of good attack to watch. The Kiwis did very well to hold out some pretty enterprising play then from the Jillaroos, I thought.
I wonder if they've got any money in their handbags. They'll be getting 500, that's for sure.
They will have tonight, the Jillaroos, for sure.
Might double it up over at the club.
I won't comment on that.
As we see now, a few of the girls like Keno when they come to Australia, I'm told. 15 short of the halfway line. They're not the only one. As they now go up the middle. 4 metres short of the line. First time, actually, that the ladies have been presented a $500 cheque in the history of the women's game. This is Fortu Morala, making her debut for the Ferns today. She wants to meet and marry Sam Burgess. Well, I don't know if you could meet and marry him on the one occasion. Might take a little while to get to know him. But he's back over there in Bath now, so maybe she could put that $500 towards a trip to Bath.
Well, I think she wants to join the queue there in relation to Sam Burgess, doesn't she? There's a few others in that queue, I think.
Long list of queue. Maybe that's why Sam Burgess had to go back overseas to get rid of him. 15 metres short of the halfway line. Where will it come this time? Jillaroos straightening the play towards the middle. Hashtag Four Nations. Hashtag Ferns. Hashtag Jillaroos. Or hashtag NRL. And get in contact with the women out here this afternoon. We'll pass your messages of support on to them, that is for sure. It's 8-4 on the NRL.com scoreboard. The Australians. Is a 4-point margin enough with 19 to go? That I am not so sure about. Brigginshaw kicking into the end goal area. Ball comes off the feet, off the boot of Fediika, and she's got a, well, she's returned the kick there, Chris, by 20 metres, as you can see on your monitor.
Yeah, it takes the pressure off the Kiwis. It's a good kick return. You get the impression there's one big play, one try left in this match, maybe two. The next try is going to be very important, I think, in determining the winner of this game.
This is the test match. This is a strong run up the middle. 15 metres short of the halfway line. The Ferns. Great ball. They're over the halfway line. Look at them go. This is Scanlon. She comes down to Hammond. She takes her on. And Hammond says, "You're not going to get away from me." Great defensive work out there by Hammond. It's still on now for the Ferns. This is Dudley. Back to Tupaia. Last tackle now. Are they about to square up the scoreboard? No, they're not. Great defence on the line from the Australian Jillaroos and Heather Ballinger. She was the girl over the top.
Well, that's great scramble, a great effort from Sam Hammond to pull down Scanlon, who looked like she was running away to score the try. But great scramble on their own line from the Jillaroos to keep the Kiwis out, who were looking very dangerous.
Around 12,000 in to watch this women's test match. You're with Peter Jolly and also Chris Bannerman, the CEO of the Illawarra Rugby League. This is Apps. 23 years of age, from Bega, travels up to Wollongong, to Helensburgh. Each time she goes around, and if that's not enough, every time she wants to train, she also comes up the highway to join her colleagues as well. Phenomenal effort, not just from her, but from all the women out here in the Australian team. They've got to travel massive distances to play. But that's why they love to pull on the green and gold to represent Australia. They do anything to have this opportunity that they've got here this afternoon. Creating history as well, both of these sides. In the undercard to the big one this afternoon. Here's a mistake. This is a mistake. She'll argue all she wants. Fediika, she's claiming that it came off the boot. But the referee has said, it's come off your hands.
I thought she had a fair argument there, Pete. I actually thought it did come off the foot. I wasn't sure that she got a hand to it, but the referee thought otherwise. It's a great chance for the Jillaroos, and again, it's the Kiwis just with a little bit of a lack of attention to detail that puts them under the pump.
"16 minutes remaining in the test match. Jillaroos 8. New Zealand Kiwi Ferns 4. It's been 3 tries in this test match since we got underway 60 minutes ago. Are we about to see a few more come 80? T Alpha on debut. 21 metres away. Studden. On the inside it comes. Ball comes out the back. Referee said play on. Newcastle girls with it. Julie Young, the police officer, who was freed up to make her return to the Australian Jillaroos squad today. Brander goes herself. Picked up and dumped there by the Ferns. Young again in a dummy half. Gets it away to Brayley. Last tackle now for the Jillaroos. Will they chance their arm? Will they kick for their winger? They're going to go up the middle. Apps, it's been cleaned up, ball and all, on the last tackle. Change over back to the Ferns with 15 to go.
Well, I thought there was a crossfield kick coming from Maddie Studden there, but Kezzy Apps hit that hole beautifully. Nearly went right through. Unfortunately, just lost control of the ball. She went through, which probably slowed her progress, but she did gather it back. But the Kiwis managed to put her on the deck.
Referee, so that tackle there was okay from the Australians. A bit of a lost ball here. Well, there's 2 refs out there, and both of them have agreed she's just lost it. Matua Federica, the selfie queen. Maybe she was trying to take a picture.
Well, again, it's just a lack of detail in those crucial moments that are probably hurting the Kiwis, and they need to get rid of that if they're going to strike back to grab this match with 14 minutes left.
Well, Serena Fiesel arguing the point. Not going to get her far, though. 14 minutes remaining. NRL.com's live and exclusive coverage of the test match between the Jillaroos and the Ferns. Brigginshaw, 18 metres away from the goal line. Spread out deep to the left. T Alpha. Young collects the ball. Ballinger. Still going, Ballinger. 8-4 on the NRL scoreboard in favour of the Jillaroos. Studden looking for support. One-on-one tackle there with Fiesel. One more coming up after this for the Jillaroos. Back to the captain in Hancock. Brought down. Last tackle now. Brigginshaw. Hammond. Will they finish him off? Brander. She's lost it. I think she's lost it over the line. Referee's on the spot. Penalty. It was stripped out. So a penalty to the Jillaroos here, Chris. More pressure coming up for the Ferns.
Yeah, you have to be in admiration of the Ferns' defence, though, at the moment. They're showing a lot of aggression, and they've repelled the Jillaroos on a number of occasions. They can't keep it up for much longer, though, you would think. But Jillaroos get another crack and an opportunity to put this game away, maybe.
Well, timeout. Clock has stopped at 12 minutes 47 on the NRL.com scoreboard. So the Australian Jillaroos, 6 new players in their squad. They're able to defeat the Kiwi Ferns at Headingley last year in the World Cup. Are they about to put the nail in the coffin again in the test match? 12 minutes to go. Ball played back from Young. Across to Brigginshaw. She offloads. Brayley, 4 metres away from the goal line. Desperate defence needed here from the Ferns. Back from Brigginshaw. She throws the dummy. She offloads. Hancock. 5. Ferns over the top. Put her down. Still on. Studden kicking for the winger. They're into touch. Gee, that must have been close. That must have been a whisker, but the winger over there from the Jillaroos has gone touch in goal.
There's a lovely bit of play from Maddie Studden, quick thinking, and Karina Brown obviously has taken the ball, but must have had a foot in touch when she touched down there. Unfortunate. Another opportunity goes begging, and the Kiwi Ferns just hang on for a little bit longer.
So 11 minutes to go. Definitely within the reach of the Ferns. Just need to hang on to the ball and not get the occasion, get the better of them. That, I don't think, will happen. Over the halfway line, Mrs. Kelly Maipee in her second year with the New Zealand Kiwi Ferns. Debuted in last year's World Cup in their defeat to the Australians at Headingley. Mulmul, 3 in there to bring her down, led there by Heather Ballinger. Gets it to her feet. Woodman, Peters, Ale, out the back it comes, play on, it's still on for the Kiwis, they stepping back on the infield, they got rid of Ballinger, they find Feasel now finds Scanlon over the top, Dudley for the line, she's got a winger, Tupaia, she's over, Tupaia, she scores a try, it's 8-all with a kick to come from the touchline, what a fantastic test try to the Kiwi Ferns.
Well, the Jillaroos had a number of chances and just kept failing to take them, and the Kiwis hang on, and they've finally really settled into a good passage of play there, and that was some sparkling play that led to that try by Tupaia. But full credit to the Kiwis. They've been dominant in the second half. They've won the second half 8-0 so far, and their gritty defence has probably helped them be in this situation. They've really repelled the Jillaroos on a number of occasions when the Jillaroos look certain to score. We've got a great game. 10 minutes to go, or 9 minutes to go, and it's locked up at 8-all.
This is her debut year as well for the Kiwi Ferns. 10 new players for Rusty Matua's Kiwi Ferns in this clash today. And we're locked up on the NRL.com scoreboard. What a moment now for Laura Mardiu. 14 years experience, I believe, in the Ferns jersey. She's played a lot of rugby league, and she's their goal kicker as well. 8-all from the touchline. Ball falls off the mound. Stiff breeze coming out of the south here at Wynn Stadium as well. Clock has stopped at 8 minutes, 56 seconds. Mardiu strikes it. It's coming around, but not far enough. So it's 8-all in the test match between the Ferns and the Jillaroos. And what a try it was to Tupaia.
It's a great try. We're locked up at 8-all now. The Kiwis look to be on the front foot, but the Jillaroos look to have a little bit more strike power if they need it, but they really need to show some composure and make the most of any opportunities that present themselves, which they haven't done in the second half. A great finish coming up with 8 minutes remaining.
So the Australian Jillaroos will get us back underway here on the NRL.com scoreboard. Will this go out on the full? They've kicked it out on the full. Penalty to the Kiwi Ferns. Right on the halfway line. Not what they needed with 7 to go.
Momentum's a big thing, isn't it, Pete? And the Kiwis have got it all at the moment. That little blunder from the Australians will really give the Kiwis a lift. They need to make sure if they do kick for touch, they put it out, or they just get on the front foot, take their sets, jam it into the corners, and put some pressure back on the Jillaroos.
And the Ferns, they'll say they'll just take the tap. Last time they went for touch, they didn't quite find it, so this is the safest option for them. This is Georgia Hale, the baby of the team, losing the ball. Comes back for the Jillaroos, and they've got it. It's 8-all in the test match between the Kiwi Ferns and the Australian Jillaroos. Live and exclusive on NRL.com. 41 metres away. The Jillaroos from the Ferns line. Scampering And making her debut for the Jillaroos from Mackay, this is Brittany Brayley. Centre of the field. Sims. The firefighter. Brigginshaw. Short ball. Kunst. Losing it. Ferns ball with 6.5 minutes to go in the test match of 2014 here at Wynn Stadium. The Ferns. We know that they're dangerous on the edge. That's where their 8 points have come in this match. This is Scanlon. Bagged a try against Australia in the World Cup. That probably seems so long ago now. Will she be able to come up with another one to give the Ferns victory? Charging forward this time. This is Murray. She's in the New Zealand Army. Had a bit of an injury cloud coming into this match, but she looks okay as they go out wide. Hopper in there for the Jillaroos. Maipee looking to kick. There's the kick. Turner takes it in goal and charges back to the 20-metre line for a quick restart. Looking to capture the Ferns offside. Didn't quite come off for her. So 5 minutes remaining in the test match between the Jillaroos and the Ferns, and we're locked up at 8-all on the NRL.com scoreboard. What a titanic battle it's been. And credit to the Ferns to be able to claw their way back into the match. This is Brown. They'll be looking possibly in a few moments' time. Will they go for that field goal? They're a long way out, but they've got a huge breeze behind them. But they'll be after a 4-pointer to seal the deal. Last tackle. They're 28 metres out. Will they try a quick snapshot? No, they don't. They're going to throw the dummy. They're offloading. Hit-a-me, the captain. Well, she tried for the intercept, Chris, but she's got the ball back, and the ball comes back to the Ferns here. 25 out from their own goal line.
Well, the Kiwi Ferns will be breathing a sigh of relief now. I think the Jillaroos have to be careful of overplaying their hand, just trying a bit too hard. I thought Ellie Brigginshaw just tried to create something a little bit earlier that really wasn't there, and it resulted in a turnover. So they really just have to be careful about overplaying their hand and just wait for the opportunities to come, because if they put enough pressure on the Kiwis with their attack and with their kicking game, the opportunities will come, but they have to be patient.
What a test match. We're inside the last 4 minutes of the match. This is Dudley. Twin sister of Shanita, who's in the 9 jersey. They're going to bomb off the boot of Peters. This ball will bounce straight into the ground. Australia, have they got the ball back? Luckily for them, they have. But gee, letting that ball bounce in the dying stages, heart attack material.
Well, it is. I think she may have looked up directly into the sun, which may have spooked Karina Brown. Luckily, Sam Hammond was there to help her tidy up, and the Jillaroos have dodged a bullet there.
So 8-all, 3.5 minutes remaining. 8-all in the test match. Australia knocked off the Kiwis in the World Cup last year for the first time at Headingley. The New Zealanders, they were out for a revenge. Well, they've got us locked up at 8-all, as now the Jillaroos trying desperately to find a hole, to find a gap. Last tackle coming up for the Australian Jillaroos. They'll need a good kick here. Studden bangs the ball downfield, rolling over the 30. Fiesel picks it up from the back, and Studden's there to put her down. 10 metres away from the halfway line. Federica straight through. She's coming down now to Hammond, and they take her into the ground. 21 metres out now from the Jillaroos line. With the ball this time, it's the captain in Hit-a-me. Well, they're going to have a good launch here for a try, let alone a field goal. 4 metres away from the line. Jillaroos on their goal line. They're over. 4-2 Morala has broken the deadlock. Is that the try that's going to win them the test match?
Well, you'd have to think so, Pete, with probably minute and a half remaining. The Kiwis have just managed to retain possession and put pressure on at the right end of the game. Remaining close to the Jillaroos was always something they needed to do on the scoreboard, and they've done it to pinch the game virtually on the death. So a great effort from the Kiwi Ferns, who at times have looked patchy, but they've come good in the second half.
Well, what a try. Made her debut for the Ferns today. We mentioned earlier, she loves the man that's departed the NRL, Sam Burgess. Just a storming run. She would have no doubt watched many a run like that from Sam Burgess. She looks up to him. It's her role model in the game, in the men's game. And is that the try that has broken the Jillaroos back? Time off. 1 minute 10 to go. They're cramping up all over the park, the Ferns. So the kick will be taking place shortly on the 20-metre line. Well, the Kiwi Ferns, they wanted the revenge from last year's loss to the Jillaroos in the World Cup final. Is it about to come? 1 minute remaining. Live and exclusive, the test match here on NRL.com. Mardiu, the 5'8", has the opportunity, but we've still got a Fern on her back, hobbling past the 10-metre line now. Did she hurt her knee? Did she hurt her ankle? Just keep an eye if she comes from the field, Chris. Doesn't look the best. So the trainer's taking her from the field now. So the clock has still stopped at 12 points to 8. The Kiwis, the Ferns, from across the ditch with 10 new players. And of course, coached by Rusty Matua. Are they about to go back across to New Zealand victorious in this test match? Here's the kick. 19 metres out. Right boot strikes it. Waved away. So while there's light, there's hope. 12-8. 58 seconds to go, Chris. Are we about to see a miracle?
Well, it would be a miracle, but if the Kiwis hang on, it's the ultimate revenge, isn't it, for last year's World Cup win by the Jillaroos, and the Kiwi Ferns coming in today and snatching this with a minute or 2 minutes remaining. It's the ultimate revenge, and they'll be looking for one more big play, the Kiwis, to get this ball, to make sure the Jillaroos don't get it from the kickoff, and then the Kiwis have probably got it in their keeping.
They go short. That hasn't gone the 10. It has not gone the 10. And picked up by the Ferns, with a penalty going to them right on the halfway line. 26 seconds to go on the NRL.com scoreboard. This is Peters, one of 3 sisters who are out there for the first time together in New Zealand Rugby League women's history. To the 30-metre line they come. Hancock, she says, come here. I'll lift you up. But it's the Kiwi Ferns day here at WIN Stadium in Wollongong. They've come from behind to defeat the Australian Jillaroos by 12 points to 8 in the test match of 2014.
Well, what a great match. It certainly entertained the crowd, and I think people who haven't seen a game of women's rugby league before certainly realise that they're fair income, and there's a lot of girls out there with some real ability, certainly a lot of athletic ability, and they know the game of rugby league. I thought that was a very entertaining game. Full credit to the Kiwis. They looked like they were gone. It looked like the Jillaroos could have run away with this, but they fought and clawed and hung on early in the second half, fought their way back in. And even at times in the second half, they lost their way a little bit with attention to detail. But the Jillaroos probably had 2 or 3 chances they could have taken, but just couldn't put the nail in the coffin. And the Kiwis have pulled off the ultimate revenge for last year's win by the Jillaroos at the World Cup. They've got them on the death virtually today, and that'll hurt the Jillaroos. They really probably would have felt they deserved to win this game.
And both sides will now meet in the Auckland Nines in January, February next year. So they'll look forward to that. But the Kiwi Ferns, they go back across the ditch, very happy. Led, of course, by their coach in Rusty Matua, Honey Hidami, their captain, as proud as punch. So that pretty much wraps up NRL.com's live and exclusive coverage of this test match. We really hope that you've enjoyed it. The Kiwi Ferns, in the end, led on the 80th minute bell and have been able to come away with victorious results. Chris, thanks very much for your coverage. We really appreciate it, and let's do it again sometime soon.
Yeah, love to, Pete. Look forward to seeing you back in the Illawarra next year, mate. It's been great.
No worries. Chris Benneman there, the CEO of the Illawarra Rugby League. Well, on behalf of everybody here at NRL.com, it's New Zealand's Day. It's been a fantastic 24 hours for New Zealand. Of course, going into the Four Nations final next weekend as well. They've been able to defeat the Jillaroos here by 12 points to 8. I've been Peter Jolly. We'll do it again next time, live and exclusive, right here on NRL.com.